All right, what I wanted to do in this section entitled Physical Compliance Inspection of Your Facility is to share just some brief ways that you can do your own self-inspection of your facility. Having said that, I don't recommend that you do your own inspections in your facility because, again, there's so many things to do, so many things to check, and it's just very much a daunting task. So if you can afford to hire a consultant to do these inspections for you, certainly highly recommend that. If not, and you'd like to just stay within the boundaries of this online web application that we've provided to you, and you don't want to spend any more money, then certainly this will give you some ideas on how to conduct a self-inspection of your facility. So if I was an employee of your facility and I wanted to do a self-inspection of the office, I would come up with a checklist, okay? Now you might want to use this particular checklist if you're a dental facility, as you see on the screen, and these you can download from our website, or you can use this checklist if you're a medical facility. Now, these are very abbreviated checklists and covers just basic stuff. It doesn't go into a lot of detail. Our particular checklist, for example, instead of being maybe 10 or 12 or 14 items on it, it's 161 items. So you can imagine the difference in depth of how we do an inspection and how you would do a self-inspection. But at least this will do certain basic things for you and pretty much keep you out of trouble if you do everything that we tell you to do. Now, when you go through these checklists, you'll notice that there's certain things that are written there, and it says basically that, is your particular situation this way or this way? If it's this way, it needs to be noted and it needs to be fixed. For example, when you go through your office, you're going to look for certain safety equipment to be present. You got to go look for these things. You got to find these things. And we've already done some trainings for you on this, on the self-inspections of your new hires, and these are called new hire checklists. And in that, we made you go look for some of these things in your facility, such as your eye wash station, first aid kit, emergency kit, spill kit, fire extinguishers, and oxygen tanks and things like that. So you should already know where these things are. And when you do an annual inspection of your office or the initial inspection, you want to make sure these things are in place and that you have them in good working conditions, such as no expired meds can be found in your emergency kits. Your oxygen tank must be a designated separate unit, and it must have at least half-hour supply of oxygen at 4 liters per minute. Your fire extinguishers have to be hung on a wall between 3.5 to 5 feet from the floor, top of the fire extinguisher to the floor. Why is this important? Because of handicap access. This is an ADA rule, Americans with Disability Act. You want to make sure your breaker panels are located and they are well identified, meaning that each switch has a clear written label on it. So you know, hey, this switch will turn off this area of the practice. This switch will also do this area of the practice. You also want to identify, for example, where the water shutoff valve is. And if you can, install a shutoff valve. If your facility doesn't have one, install one for yourself, because it's always a great idea to shut the water off when you leave the office overnight, because we've had several of our clients get flooded because of a pipe that burst overnight and basically destroyed their entire practice. Other things to check for are electrical safety things, like making sure there's no extension cords without a power surge protector is being used on a permanent basis. Those can cause fires. We had a fire in a dental office just recently due to electrical situations, and they think it was because of the aquarium that they were using, they had in their facility, and that's what caused the fire. That destroyed not only their office, but also destroyed, did a lot of damage to the neighboring facilities, because this particular office was in a complex with other dental offices and medical facilities, you know, as neighbors. So it affected everything. And so that was a devastating situation. So be very careful about your inspection. So when I usually start an inspection, I start from one end of your office and I do what's called a sweep. So with my hand, I look at a particular area of the wall, I sweep up all the way up to the ceiling and then down again to the floor. And I sweep the entire outer limits of the facility, and I make my rounds. When I come to a cabinet, I open the cabinet, I look for any expired meds sitting around, I look for any food items or any other, like drinks or foods or makeup or anything like that in contaminated areas. And I just go through and I do what's called my sweep, right? And this allows me not to miss something. Like if I come across an outlet and I see, oh, this outlet's broken, I write that down and I make sure that the cover plate is replaced. I come over here and I notice, oh, there's a sink right here. I make sure that the outlet next to the sink, within 3 feet of the sink, is a GFI outlet, and that's ground fault interrupt. As I go through the facility, I look for all the safety equipment as I go through. I check to make sure there's a sharps container in each and every exam room that I'm giving any injections or do any kind of procedures involving sharps. Same thing in the dental office, in operatories. I make sure that sharps containers are in the operatories and there's no centralized sharps container in the facility. And then I check for any type of cross-contamination issues, like if I see gloves or masks or gowns that are disposable thrown into a non-clinical area trash can. I make sure that the trash cans in all clinical areas are covered containers. I make sure that trash cans that are red bags in facilities are labeled properly with 5 biohazard labels, north, south, east, and west, and one on the lid. And then I make my way all the way around and I look for fire extinguishers to not be expired. I look for items missing out of emergency kits, first aid kits, spill kits. If there's no chemicals, you don't need to have a chemical spill kit, but you need to have a biohazard spill kit, for example, because every facility could have patients regurgitating and maybe blood spills, so those you need to have. I make sure that chemicals are labeled properly, right? Any secondary container that's not a manufactured container has to have a chemical label on it. If it's a dental office, I label traps, chairside traps, vacuum traps with mercury labels and biohazard labels. I make sure you have certain signs up. I check posters, make sure the posters are set up correctly. I look for the manuals that I have. Are they updated? Are they customized or personalized to the office? Do I have safety data sheets for all the chemicals that I have in the office? And the list goes on and on. So I hope this is helpful to you and at least maybe get you started on the right track to get some sort of an inspection done in your facility. But it's so many different regulations, so many different agencies that have jurisdiction and want certain things done that it's impossible for me to do this for you in a short video of 10 or 15 minutes, which we all have. That's the only time that we have to do this. And certainly it's not something that can be done over a video. You really need to look at or seriously consider someone coming to your office and doing an inspection. But again, if you don't want to do that, you can certainly do this yourself. Try to get some labels. You can buy chemical labels from a company called Grainger, which used to be called Lab Safety Supplies. You can buy your emergency kit from a company called Cena Health, which we recommend. And you can get these numbers either online or you can call our company. We can give you the numbers to these companies. And there are several other resources that we have for you for different things with regards to compliance. And pretty much that's all I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions about these types of issues with physical compliance, depending on what kind of an agency you're anticipating an inspection from, or you may want to just be compliant with, certainly give us a call. We'll be happy to walk you through as best as we can over the phone. And usually we don't charge anything for that consultation at all. So, we're just trying to be as helpful as what we possibly can. And hopefully this was informative for you and at least get you started somehow. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope this was helpful.